Ruth is calling from California and wants to talk about Christians and atheists being married. What?
Oh, Ken, it's Ruth. I talked to you last week.
I know you were kicked out of church when you were a kid, but you're talking about people being unequally yoked.
That's what I was thinking.
No, I busted that door down and walked in and said, "What the fuck's going on here?"
Right.
No, I didn't do that. But a little note for the first caller: have her go on YouTube and listen to like a conversation with, say, Brian Greene and Sam Harris.
Oh, you talking about the physicist Brian Greene?
Yeah,
physicist
and Sam Harris. They did it. I was just watching it this morning.
You know, I'm going to tell you something. I am a physics noob, but I'm fascinated, and I've started like watching these like open source like courses. From the one I'm watching right now is from UC Berkeley about physics, and just sort of trying to like get like my white belt in physics, because it wasn't something that we emphasized in the evangelical community that I grew up in.
Do they give out belts now? Is that
I have white belt in physics?
Okay,
yeah.
okay,
wow.
sweet.
Brian Greene, I believe, is a black belt. Sean Carroll's black belt.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyway, but what's this stuff about Christians and atheists being married?
Oh, that's my mom and dad.
Okay.
Mom was a Christian, dad was an atheist, and you know they got along great. And my friends Pat and Laura, they're a Christian and atheist couple that are wonderful together. It's nice to know that there are people that can get along no matter what their beliefs are. And, you know, because most of the time it's Christians hate atheists, atheists hate Christians. But, you know, I loved your whole show today. I guess I'm the last one again.
You're the cherry on top right now, Ruth.
That's right. That's right.
Huh?
You're the cherry on top of the sundae is what's going on here. Yeah.
Oh, I was so excited. Guess who I got to talk to? I got to talk to Seth Andrews last week. And the last thing we said to each other before we hung up was, we're going to meet in a cemetery and take LSD together like I did in high school.
Well, there you go. You know, as all good conversations with Seth, and promises, Seth, is all I'm going to say. The thing with believers and non-believers being married is an interesting conundrum for a lot of people. It's a conversation that my wife and I have had. She's not a religious person, and is a very reasonable person, a critical thinker, and all the things that I, value and respect are present there. And I've thought about, like how much harder it would be, and especially, in the context of like, we want to have a family one day, we want to have kids and all that stuff, of if we ran up against, one parent in a relationship wanting like their kid to be raised in church, and one parent thinking that that's probably a really bad idea. It's an area where I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it, but I would be fascinated by how people navigate this territory, especially in today's religious and political climate.
Yeah. Seth Andrews,
well, I can help you out there, and hopefully I can help out your listeners. Mom and Dad met. Dad was drunk. Mother wasn't, and because she is a teetotaler. And
tale as old as time.
Yeah, you bet. And so when they got together, they had talked about, how they were raised, and the conversations of, Dad being in a Catholic orphanage during the Depression, while his
I'm sure that was lovely. Jesus Christ.
He was there for a year.
Oh. My goodness.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Well, his mother was a German Catholic,
Okay.
and so my grandfather was killed. He was a Formula One race car driver, so he was killed at the Indy 500 and back during the Depression. And so she dropped my father off. They beat him because back then boys were dirty. It's just what they beat into him. Little boys were dirty. So anyway, so dad and mom got together and they never talked after they got all what they had to say about themselves out in the open. They just decided that they're just not going to involve that conversation in their marriage, and that mom was free to go to church every Saturday until she died. And mom thought dad could stay away from church until the day he died. And when it came to us kids, dad gave us kind of like the freedom of choice. Do you want to go with your mom, or do you want to go out in the woods with me? And because I grew up in the mountains, and so I went with my mother. My youngest brother went with my mother. We went, and it caught on real quick. It just didn't make any sense. And we would come home and tell dad what we learned about, oh Christ, Adam and Eve, and Noah,
Christ.
and that's what got me kicked out.
I remember you're asking too many questions in the Sunday school. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you just it's a bummer. And so that's how we were. And mom never prayed for dad. We never sat around the table and had prayer before breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dad always felt that his religion was out in the mountains, and that's, if his kids felt that way, more power to us. My brother's a born-again Christian up in Montana, Trump, guns, and God kind of guy.
The Trinity, I believe, that you're referring to. Right. That's the new Trinity. Ruth, my question is we are short on time, and I am going to have to wrap here. But what I want to ask you is just one thing. Did you ever feel like you were put in a position where you were going to be forced to disappoint one of your parents by not going along with sort of the others? I grew up in a family where both parents were religious, so I never ran into this. But I'm imagining that if my mom was like, "I want you to come to church with me," and dad was like, "No, why don't you come with me?" that would put me as a kid in a bind.
Oh no, it was never I want or I want. It was would you like or would you like? It was never you're going to disappoint me if you don't go. Neither one of my parents were that judgmental, nor did they ever lie. Tell that last caller, don't lie.
It sounds to me, Ruth, it sounds to me like what you're saying is that some of those real nice words, those real nice feelings that we have and stuff like patience and compassion, maybe a little bit of negotiation, that kind of is what really made it palatable, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, they were like best friends, and I think that made it more palatable that they got to know each other, and they married each other as best friends. And
it sounds like there was a very effective sort of separation of church and state here with respect to the structure of the relationship. What a concept.
Yeah, it was. So, I loved growing up in a family where we got to pick and choose, never lie to each other. I mean, if I looked fat in a dress, my husband told me, just lying isn't good. And you don't lie to your kids. My children were raised, my daughter joined a Christian youth camp in high school, but she didn't believe anything. She just liked the kids. So she
social
was
thing. Yeah.
doing it out of, yeah. And my son just said, no fucking way. So, yeah, they got to choose, and they're more honest about it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I think honesty in a relationship is so important.
I'm all for
Certainly, yeah.
honesty. I'm all for compassion, and I'm all for patience. I'm all for all of that, Ruth. So I
Oh.
really do appreciate you calling.
you're
Yeah,
gonna
I
have
think that's
a good life.
I think that's a perfect place for us to
Oh,
end the show of on valuing honesty. I think that's great, especially after some of the
I know.
interactions we've had today.
Oh, and
So
tell
thank you, Ruth.
the second caller he needs to smoke a joint.
We wouldn't advocate for anything
we
like
cannot advocate for such practices. But Ruth's telling you.
Oh,
You
I
should,
know.
you said your piece, Ruth.
All right, Ruth. Well, hey,
all right.
it's good. It's good talking to you again. I hope you have a great weekend.
Oh, you too. Take care.
All right, take care.